Did Lázaro Cárdenas have a significant impact on Mexican art and culture? Have you ever wondered how a political leader can shape a nation's art and culture? Lázaro Cárdenas, who served as president of Mexico from 1934 to 1940, did just that. His influence on Mexican art and culture is notable, especially regarding indigenous heritage and identity. Cárdenas believed that honoring indigenous culture was essential for building a national identity. As governor of Michoacán, he worked to unify the population after the Cristero War. He developed the historic town of Pátzcuaro into a tourist destination that celebrated indigenous history. One of his significant projects was building a residence named La Quinta Eréndira. This estate was named after a Purépecha princess, symbolizing indigenous resistance to Spanish conquest. At La Quinta Eréndira, Cárdenas commissioned murals that depicted the rise and fall of the Purépecha Empire. These murals used indigenous narratives to challenge dominant national myths. They aimed to reposition Mexico's cultural foundations in Michoacán. Although these murals are now lost, they reflected Cárdenas's effort to integrate indigenous history into Mexico's cultural memory. Cárdenas's policies promoted a cultural nationalism that valued Mexico's indigenous peoples and traditions. This cultural nationalism was part of his broader vision of social justice and agrarian reform. He aimed to empower peasants and workers, many of whom were of indigenous descent. By promoting indigenous culture alongside political and economic reforms, Cárdenas helped shape a Mexican identity that included its native heritage. His support for indigenous culture also aligned with his political stance against imperialism. Cárdenas sought to build a more independent and socially just Mexico. This cultural dimension of his leadership inspired artists, intellectuals, and the public to embrace Mexico's diverse roots. It contributed to the flourishing of Mexican muralism and other art forms that celebrated national history and social themes. In summary, Lázaro Cárdenas significantly impacted Mexican art and culture by promoting indigenous cultural expressions. He integrated these themes into the national narrative and supported art projects that reinforced Mexico's revolutionary ideals. His cultural emphasis complemented his social and economic reforms, helping define a Mexican identity rooted in its native past.